obviously I'm not harming them enough intellectually today to make them come chase me down and find me. And even if they did that, they better bring 20 or 30 people with them, because they know that I am not going to go easily. And that's pretty hard to do in a foreign country.
You know, a lot of people that I've talked to, they're talking about moving to Guatemala or Ecuador or some other country. But I've had, and you're right about the communication here. I've had Adrian Salbucci from Argentina, and he was an excellent guest. Put a lot of information out on YouTube. So it's but I tell them, well, they don't call it the New World Order for nothing. So I obviously, though, there are countries out there that kind of respect the battle that we're in, because you have a safe haven in these countries.
Well, it varies from country to country, and as long as you mind your own business and stay out of harm's way, you have no problems whatsoever. And of course, abide by the law, whatever that law may be. And those kind of things are what you do. And you're better off moving frequently. And it's pretty hard when you, like I've moved 12 times in 8 years. I mean, that's a ferocious trail to try to follow from one country to another. And incidentally, it's very interesting and it's very educational, and it really expands your mind going from one culture to another. I just thought I'd throw that in.
The culture we have here, I mean, for many years we were considered the light of the free world. You know, going back in history, I'm not sure. I think maybe General Patton was right. We might have fought on the wrong side. You talked about Russia, and we went through this Cold War with Russia. They were spying, and it seemed like an awful lot of their spies were Jewish. The Rosenbergs, the Pollards out there. What is the connection that you see with and Israel is a Rothschild's colony that was founded by the Rothschilds? We fought 2 world wars to try to get, in my opinion here, we fought 2 world wars when the United States and Russia wouldn't go along with the Balfour Declaration, and so we fought 2 wars to destroy the German economy, and it feels like we're in there. There's a war on with us. It feels like we are Germany, and the ADL coming out with the demonization of the Tea Parties and the Oath Keepers. This is a standard communist maneuver. Anytime the communists take over a country, they go after 3 classes of people, and I've had to expand that to 4. They go after the farmers, the intelligentsia, and the law enforcement, or veterans that are still loyal to the old regime. And now I've added a 4th category to that: the medical profession. They are trying to neutralize doctors and nurses. Oh, you have to take this vaccine. So are we going back? The film that I just did a few years back, I filmed the first Homeland Security meeting, and they're talking about, in case of a single outbreak of smallpox or a major natural disaster, we'll need hundreds of thousands of trained troops to control the American people. Are they doing the same thing to us that they did to the Russia when they set up the Soviet Union and went on to murder 60 million, kill or imprison over 60 million Christian Russians? And then suddenly Russia, the Russians were the bad guys, and I'm sorry, I don't see it that way. Your opinion, sir?
Well, as you know, Russia was fighting during the First World War against Germany, and at the same time the communists were attacking them from behind. And the white forces, as they were called, didn't stand a chance. And they in the late 1930s, Stalin, who had to be totally out of his mind, did away with a good part of the officerial force in the military. And then he proceeded during that period of time to eliminate the Kalmucks and as many people in the Ukraine as he could get his hands on. And that guy was a true nutcase. But, you know, you've said a lot of things here. One of the things that I'm getting, I get 2 letters this week from people, nurses, both of them, who are told they lose their job if they don't take the shots.
Right.
And they don't know what to do. You know, they don't want to lose their job, but they don't want to take that crap in their arm, you know. And so this bears out what you're talking about in regard to the medical profession. When you control the medical profession the way that is envisioned by the Illuminists, they want it in a way where anybody who looks like they're pretty sick after 60 years old, you know, they just give them an injection and cart them off to the ice box before they plant them. And if you're not healthy and you're not contributing, they don't want you around. And so there'll be very few people living who are in their 70s and 80s and even fewer in their 90s unless in some way they're productive or protected. In other words, you have a core society where the producers run from, say, 20 years old to 60 years old, and after they're worn out, they just cast them aside and bring a new crop in. Of course, the people who are running things, they're not subjugated to being liquidated because they are the anointed ones. And this is what these people intend to do. And they've written it in their books and magazines and told us that there's 60 to 80% of the people in the world shouldn't be here. Let's get rid of them.
They carved it in stone, didn't they?
So many wars.
They carved it in stone at the Georgia Guidestones. It's carved in stone that they want to reduce the world's population to a manageable 500 million. I guess that would be about 499 million slaves and 1 million elitists.
And that's the way they think. And I've known many of them personally, and they didn't have a clue that I knew what they were all about. And I never said anything because I wanted to observe them. I mean, 30 years ago, was it 30, 10, 20? Yeah, 30 years ago, I knew Charles, Prince Charles, fairly well. And Diane, even before they got married. And I knew his father, who's still alive. And I should say I know his father. And I've talked to him a number of times. These people are at the top of the Illuminati feeding chain. I mean, these people are the controllers. They act on behalf of the other royal families of Europe. And so I've been close to and talked to and have known people like that. And one of the reasons I knew them is I was involved in the brokerage industry, and they did a lot of business in London for years. And I used to go over to London from LA, like, you know, I'd leave on Thursday and come back on Monday. You know, just like a weekend. I'd take the whole family. And you know, I lived in Europe for years, and fluent in French and German as well. So no one was going to pull the wool over my eyes unless I happened to be in Spain or Madagascar or something. But I've seen this thing from both sides. And in fact, I had people in the Vatican try to recruit me for, what the heck's the name of that group in Europe?
The Bilderbergs?
Well, let's see. No. This is a